They told you luxury oils come from flowers, but the richest ones come from places where nothing should survive. They told you luxury oils come from flowers. But the truth is far stranger and far more valuable. Because the richest oils in the world don't come from gardens, greenhouses, or orchards. They come from the desert. From places where nothing should survive. Where the sun melts the ground, where the wind burns the skin, and where life fights for every drop of existence. And inside these extreme landscapes lies a billion-dollar secret the world was never supposed to discover, the rare desert resins that fuel the most lucrative oil empire of 2025. For most people, the desert is emptiness, heat, silence. But for the elite perfumers and luxury oil manufacturers of the world, deserts are not dead zones, they are vaults. Vaults of biochemical treasures formed over decades, sometimes centuries, by plants that shouldn't even be alive. Plants that bleed resin not as a scent, but as a survival mechanism. And those resins, once extracted and transformed, become some of the most powerful oils on Earth. To understand this industry, you must first understand the plants that create these resins. They are not delicate flowers, they are survivors. They grow in places where temperatures cross 50 degrees Celsius, where water exists for only a few days each year, and where predators are not animals, but the climate itself. The desert boswellia. The rare comifera. The ghost acacia. Each of them produces resin as a defense, a thick, golden substance that seals wounds, blocks infections, and protects the plant from death. But humans discovered something else. When distilled, these resins produce oils that behave differently from any other natural ingredient. Oils that don't evaporate fast. Oils that hold scent for days. Oils that merge with skin chemistry and create a signature aroma that cannot be replicated in laboratories. This is why the luxury market hunts them. Not because they smell good, but because they do what no other oil can. But here's where the story gets darker. As demand exploded in 2025, the world quickly realized that these resins are extremely difficult to harvest. They don't come from farms. They don't come from plantations. They come from wild, untouched regions controlled by tribal communities, private security forces, and in some cases, underground networks. Extracting resin is not like picking flowers, it requires cutting into a plant that might be decades old. And if the harvester cuts too deep, the plant dies. If he harvests too often, the plant dies. And when the plant dies, the oil dies with it. This scarcity is not artificial. It is biological. And scarcity always attracts billionaires. Today, major luxury houses send discreet teams into desert regions to negotiate harvest rights. Some offer technology. Some offer protection. Some offer money that entire villages have never seen before. But the competition is ruthless. Because every kilogram of raw desert resin can be transformed into an oil that sells for thousands. And every liter of this oil becomes a silent weapon in the luxury market, used to create exclusive perfumes, ultra-premium skincare formulas, and private blends requested by royalty, celebrities, and collectors. But behind every drop, there is a cost. Let me take you inside a real extraction operation. Deep in the Horn of Africa, workers begin before sunrise. They walk for hours across rock fields with temperatures that can kill a man in a single afternoon. They carry tools worn by time and heat. When they reach the trees, they work in silence. 1 cut. 2 cuts. Wait. The resin begins to bleed slowly, like honey fighting gravity. They leave it to harden, returning days later to collect the crystals, golden, sharp, and fragrant. Each piece is placed into a container like a precious gem. Because at this point, it is one. From there, the resin travels to clandestine purification sites. It is washed, dried, filtered, and finally distilled into the oil that luxury houses fight to obtain. The distillation rooms look less like factories and more like clinical laboratories. Bright lights. Stainless steel surfaces. Digital monitors tracking molecular purity. Because the buyers don't just want oil, they want chemical perfection. The secret is that desert resin oils contain compounds found nowhere else in nature. Molecules that remain stable under extreme heat. Molecules that bind to skin instead of evaporating. Molecules that enhance other ingredients instead of smothering them. This is why perfumers call them anchors. Without desert resins, most high-end perfumes would be forgettable. With them, the scent becomes unforgettable. But let me show you the part the industry hides most, the financial war behind it. In 2025, global demand for resin-based oils rose so fast that governments began competing for control of the supply. Some countries restricted export. Others privatized entire desert regions. And others, quietly, allowed private investors to buy harvesting territories. Yes. You heard that right. Desert resin fields are being bought like gold mines. Because in the luxury world, they are gold mines. A few bottles can fund an entire operation. A single exclusive batch can pay for months of security, research, and transportation. And once a brand secures its supply, it locks competitors out, ensuring that no one else can produce the same scent profile. This is how luxury companies build empires, through ingredients that no one else can access. The darker side? Overharvesting is now a serious threat. Some desert species are becoming dangerously scarce. Experts warn that in 10 years, certain trees may disappear completely if extraction continues at the current rate. But stopping is not an option for the companies that depend on these oils. Instead, they are turning to planting initiatives. Artificial irrigation systems. Genetic research. Even lab-grown resin tissues. But none of these alternatives match the original. Because you cannot replicate survival. You cannot recreate the biochemical signature of a plant fighting for its life under brutal conditions. This is what makes desert resin oils irreplaceable. And this is why their value is skyrocketing. Collectors are now buying limited edition bottles not to use, but to store. Investment firms are quietly entering the market, treating resin oils like fine wine or rare whiskey. And the black market is growing just as fast, fueled by thieves who cut trees illegally, smugglers who bypass border controls, and chemists who counterfeit diluted versions to sell at absurd profits. In the middle of all this, luxury brands try to maintain the illusion of elegance and purity. Perfume ads show calm deserts in soft golden light. But behind the scenes, the reality is closer to a geopolitical chess game, where every move can determine who controls the next billion-dollar ingredient. So the next time someone tells you that luxury oils come from flowers, you will know the truth. The most powerful oils come from survival. From conflict. From landscapes carved by time and heat. From plants that bleed gold to stay alive. This is the hidden world of rare desert resins. This is the billion-dollar oil empire of 2025. And this is just the beginning.